champions take the field now. Unify us, make us feel proud. In the streets our heads are lifting as we lose our inhibition. Celebration, it surrounds us. Every nation, all around us. Singing forever young, singing songs underneath the sun. Let's rejoice in the beautiful game. And together at the end of the day, we all say, when I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. So wave your flag, now wave your flag, now wave your flag. Oh, 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 oh. Freedom, give you fire, give you reason, take you higher. See the champions take the field now. Unify us, make us feel proud. In the streets our heads are lifting as we lose our inhibition. Celebration, it surrounds us. Every nation, all around us. Sing forever young, singing songs underneath the sun. Let's rejoice in the beautiful game.
Hello, everyone. My name is Omar Labar. I'm the president of World Around You, and today we'll be presenting Pangea 2020. We will wait a couple of minutes before our first presentation so that we can get as many people as we can. So just to talk a little bit about World Around You. World Around You is the international club on campus. We try to showcase every culture and country presence on campus. Our main event throughout the year is Pangea Festival. Traditionally, we would have tables with countries all around the world, and we would have food, we would have presentations, and we would have decorations, all kinds of fun stuff. But obviously, this year, we still wanted to do it, but instead of having tables, we're having screens. But this is not keeping us from getting together and sharing our cultures, sharing how we've been living for a long time. This year, we have a lot of countries present. I am going to introduce the panelists very quickly. Akib Hamid was supposed to present Pakistan, but now the presentation got taken over by Sidra Hassan. She's going to be presenting his work. There's going to be Ren Garcia, who's going to be presenting Mexico. We have Fatima, who's going to present Palestine. Lucie Marchand, which might or might not come. She will represent France. Jamie Deliwala and other students will represent India. Andreina Negriti is going to present Venezuela. Parsa Kevani is going to present Iran. We have Victoria Stadnikova is going to present Russia. Nathaniel Goku is going to present Ghana. And finally, Safir Mural is going to present the UAE. And we have a club organization present today, Life Beyond Borders. And this is represented by Safir and Ren. And they are basically, the whole purpose is to kind of show people and teach people about all the things happening around the world, like refugee camps, and really show us the reality of what's going on in the world. So please welcome all the panelists, and we will be waiting 10 more minutes for our first presentation by Sidra Hassan. And just to give you a little background, I am from Morocco, and right here you can see this is the Hassan II Tower. It's the highest mosque in the whole African continent, and it's in Casablanca. And just a fun fact, Casablanca was a movie that was made in 1962, I believe, um, and it was post World War II. It was showing uh, the colonization of France in Morocco. It's a fun fact to have. Sophia, you want to jump in for introduction? And I did forget one person's name. I apologize. It's Sokun. He is going to be representing Cambodia.
Hey Omar, I can jump in here with some more fun facts on the International Advising Office. To our attendees, my name is Michelle Pulowski. I'm the International Advisor on campus. And on campus, through our office, we have 43 countries that our students represent. And this is just a fraction of the countries and cultures that we're going to be showcasing today. We have about 231 students on campus that are here studying from other countries. And that includes, this year we had about 13 exchange students that are normally here for maybe 1 term, 2 terms, or the full year. So a special shout out to them. Their year did get a little interrupted, but we are making the best of it. So yeah, the international population is strong, and you know, they unite and they become a family right off the bat during orientation, their first year. And it's a special group, and we love to see they highlight their cultures at the end of the academic year, and this is what we look forward to. So we're making the best of it, and a special shout out to World Around You for making this happen virtually. I think our attendees are growing. I know it's Saturday, a little bit early for some people, and people are tuning in from all time zones. So we'll give them a few more minutes. All right, Omar, I'm going to mute myself. Is Safir on? Did he want to introduce?
I think he's a little shy. There he is.
There he is. Not Safir.
Hey guys, my name is Safir. I am the treasurer for Well Around You. I'm from the United Arab Emirates, and today, I mean, as you all can see, we have planned out Pangea. Usually, we do this on campus. I don't know if, like, a lot of you guys must have been to Pangea several times. It's a huge event outside the library. We set up big tables for every country, and then you can try out foods, which unfortunately you can't. We can't share food on Zoom, but it's a really good event. Like we get like hundreds of people attending, and it goes on for like a good amount of time. But we wanted to do a similar thing today, because we didn't want to lose that tradition of having Pangea every year, because we've been doing this for quite a while now. And so we decided that, hey, let's still do it on Zoom and hope that people like it. And we've spent a good amount of time. We've spent a good amount of time in meetings, discussing all the basics. It was very confusing. We were very confused at the start, but then as time went by, and with the help of Michelle and Mike, we started to get an idea of how we're going to make this possible. And here we are today, like, have this event. I honestly didn't think it was going to be possible, but we put in the work. I think everyone did. Thank you to all the panelists who put in the efforts, making presentations, trying to find out all the stuff to present. This means a lot to us. And and we're so glad that we all got a chance. We are getting a chance to experience different cultures around the world, even though we're just sitting right at our homes. It's kind of unfortunate. I hope everyone comes back on campus soon so that we can have a Pangea that you guys all would love. But honestly, like I hope you guys really enjoy this. It's gonna be fun. I'm very sure of it. You guys are gonna absolutely enjoy this and learn a lot from it. I personally think I'm gonna be learning a lot from all the panelists who are gonna be presenting today. So I hope you guys enjoy and yeah, stay on.
Well put. I appreciate your words, Safir. I did have a dream that we were going to reach 600 participants today. So I hope you can send the link to as many people as you can, even your family. This is one of the nice features of Zoom is that you don't need people in the same place to share whatever information we want to share or culture. So it would be great if you send your link to your families and they can see what your friends look like and all that stuff. We will start in 3 minutes, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We do get 600 attendees sometimes. It's a possibility.
Just hope for the best.
Yep.
We can honestly just start it now, if that's all right with you, Sidra, or
Yep, that works.
okay. Then in that case, you can just go ahead and share your screen.
Hi guys, I am Sidra and I'm going to be presenting Pakistan. Today for the presentation of Pakistan, I was planning on showing you guys a video clip, something that my cousin had kind of compiled and developed when she had visited Pakistan, and also a song. It is not Pakistani, it's actually Indian, I'll explain that later, but it's a song that both my older sister and I had sung because we have kind of grown up singing Desi and South Asian types of music, so we kind of really enjoyed that growing up, so we really wanted to share that and give you guys a taste of South Asian culture, specifically Pakistani culture. And just a quick little overview of Pakistan before I start. It is a country in South Asia, of course. It is surrounded by four big areas. It has India to the east, it's China to the north, it's surrounded by Afghanistan and Iran to the west, and the Arabian Sea in the south. In addition to that, Pakistan is a very ethnically and religiously diverse country. Although it is predominantly Muslim and it is a very Islamic, it's an Islamic state essentially, there are a multitude of other religions, including Hinduism and Christianity, and also very ethnically diverse. There's people of Pashtun, there's people who are Punjabi. It's very extensive in its diversity. So Pakistan is a very rich country, and I wanted to kind of give you guys a taste of that through a video and through a song. So also, could someone let me know if they can hear this? I'm not 100% sure if you'll be able to hear this. Can you guys hear this video?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
I think the video got muted. I'm not sure if it's the same for everybody.
Sorry?
I think the video got muted for a second.
Is muted? Okay, let me go back. Okay, let me try this again.
Oh, you need to keep yourself unmuted.
Okay, I'll do that.
अपनी राह बनाता, गिरता संभलता मस्ती में चलता था वो। हमको कल की फिक्र सताती, वो बस आज का जश्न मनाता, हर लम्हे को खुल के जीता था वो। कहाँ से आया था वो, छूके हमारे दिल को, कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढूं। सुलगती धूप में छाँव के जैसा, रेगिस्तान में गाँव के जैसा, मन के घाव पे मरहम जैसा था वो। हम सहने से रहते कुएं में, वो नदिया में गोते लगाता, उल्टी धारा चीर के तैरता था वो। बदला मारा था वो, यार हमारा था वो, कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढूं। हमको तो राहें थी चलाती, वो खुद अपनी राह बनाता, गिरता संभलता मस्ती में चलता था वो। हमको कल की फिक्र सताती, वो बस आज का जश्न मनाता, हर लम्हे को खुल के जीता था वो। कहाँ से आया था वो, छूके हमारे दिल को, कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढूं।
Okay, so that was the video that my cousin had made, and it's definitely one of my favorite videos. I love watching it every single time. So now for the second part of the Pakistani segment, I wanted to kind of share a song that my sister and I had recorded. It is, I said before, an Indian song. It's a Bollywood song, but one of the messages that we wanted to convey, being Pakistani, is that we're very accepting and we're very friendly, and we are willing to look past our differences and kind of integrate other cultures. Also, the song, the language that's in this song is Hindi, which is very similar to Urdu, and that is the predominantly, or the national language of Pakistan. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. We're not professional singers, but we do like singing songs.
तुझसे जुदा अगर हो जाएंगे तो खुद से ही हो जाएंगे जुदा। तेरा मेरा रिश्ता है कैसा एक पल दूर गवारा नहीं तेरे लिए हर रोज है जीते तुझको दिया मेरा वक्त सभी मन है मेरा ना हो तेरे बिना हर सांस पे नाम तेरा क्योंकि तुम ही हो अब तुम ही हो जिंदगी अब तुम ही हो चैन भी मेरा दर्द भी मेरी आशिकी अब तुम ही हो तेरे लिए ही जिया मैं खुद को जो यूं दे दिया है तेरी वफा ने मुझको संभाला सारे गमों को दिल से निकाला तेरे साथ मेरा है नसीब जुदा तुझे पाके अधूरा न रहा क्योंकि तुम ही हो अब तुम ही हो जिंदगी अब तुम ही हो चैन भी मेरा दर्द भी मेरी आशिकी क्योंकि तुम ही हो अब तुम ही हो जिंदगी अब तुम ही हो चैन भी मेरा दर्द भी मेरी आशिकी अब तुम ही हो
All right. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening and for learning a little bit more about Pakistani culture. I wish I had more time, but thank you.
Thank you, Sidra, for this amazing presentation. It was a great voice. I want to make a special shout out to my great friend Talha. He was the president of World Around You. He is from Pakistan, and I believe he was the president in 2018 or 17. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I just want to make a shout out to him, and he is one of my great friends. So, Safir, this is the part where we improvise between presentations. We have, I think, Ren Garcia is presenting at 11:30. She's going to be presenting in Mexico. So yeah. and by the way, Sidra, is that a video that you recorded when you were in Pakistan, or? I think you're muted.
The video that I showed, that video was something that my cousin actually had made. I actually asked her permission to present it because she had visited the Northern Valley of Pakistan about 2 years ago, and she like made this video. So like, I really enjoyed it when I first had seen it. So that's why I wanted to use it as like an example of some of the things that you see in Pakistan. So yeah.
Beautiful. It kind of reminded me of my own country. It's sad that I never really had the chance to visit much of my country's wonderful places, but it does remind me of the vibe in Morocco with all the food and all the views and the great weather is one of the important things that you get to miss when you're in Schenectady.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%.
Oh,
sorry. I was just gonna say I got goosebumps looking at it because watching it because it also reminded me, and I've been really wanting to visit Pakistan and India and Nepal, so it's definitely in my bucket list.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you. I think someone asked a question. They said, "Can you tell us what this song is about?" Oh, Misha answered it. Yeah, it's basically saying "You're my love." It's like this guy singing. It's sung by a guy. He sings to a girl, and he's basically kind of telling her she's the one for him, and like he has like he feels very upset without her in his life. She's like the primary source of happiness in his life. So yeah, that's the song's about. Very romantic.
And panelists or attendees as well, feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A. We'd be happy to answer, and this will honestly help us in improvising as well. Thank you. So Ren, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, and then you can start whenever, I think 11:30 is when you should start. All right, good luck.
Okay. Okay. Hey guys. So the country that I'll be representing is Mexico. I'll just introduce myself. So I am the Vice President of World Around You, and it's actually an honor to be here. I know our team has worked really hard for this event, even though I couldn't be on campus. But yeah, so I am originally from Mexico. I was born in Mexico, but I immigrated to the United States when I was 5 years old with my parents, and I basically, my whole life has been here in the US, but I still feel like a pretty strong connection to my Mexican roots, so I'm going to share that with you guys today. Okay. So this is just general information. The official name of Mexico is Estados Unidos Mexicanos. We are very populated. We have around 126.2 million people, and our currency is the Mexican peso. And our independence day is on September 16th. So I just wanted to briefly talk about some of the civilizations that we had. So the reason why Mexico came to be now is because of course, various events in history, but we were once made up of very unique civilizations like the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Teotihuacanes. So, and then these are just some images showing like what the civilizations were like back then. But yeah, then we were colonized by the Spanish and then gained our independence later on. And that's a painting representing that. So our official language is Spanish, but we do have around 69 official languages and 68 of them are indigenous. Unfortunately, most of the indigenous languages are dying out because they're not necessarily being passed from generation to generation anymore, which is sad. But yeah, so Spanish is not the only language in Mexico. And one of my favorite parts about Mexico is the food. Not to be biased or anything, but we have really good food. We have tamales, which are shown here. We have quesadillas, and these are a little bit different than how the US portrays the quesadillas. They're actually, the quesadillas that we cook are mostly fried rather than, I think, putting on a pan or something. But of course, the very famous dish, tacos. We have tacos of all sorts. Like we have tacos de pastor, tacos de bistec, just different meats, and yeah. And then we have pozole, which is over here, and mole, which is actually a really interesting dish. It's like this chocolate dish. It's this chocolate sauce on chicken that you can put, or you can also put it like on a tortilla, like I don't know, you probably guys know the tortilla is like this flat bread thing, but it's really good. So definitely you guys should try it out. Some of our common drinks are horchata, jarritos, agua de Jamaica, chocolate abuelita, and then we also have you know, the drink square when you can kind of mix with some tequila for, you know, the weekend and spend some good time with family. So that's a very famous drink in Mexico. Some of the dances that are very famous and also very traditional in Mexico that have been passed on from generation to generation are the jarabe tapatío, polka norteña, la bamba, flor de piña from Oaxaca, danza de los viejitos. La danza de los viejitos literally translates to the dance of the elderly. It's actually a very cute dance, and basically like people dress up as like right here, like the elderly, and then they just start dancing. I think it's kind of cute. La danza del venado en jarana de Yucatan. So one of my favorite dances is la quebradita, and I actually tried to learn this dance, and it's very difficult. I would definitely recommend stretching and exercise before this dance. But I'm just gonna show you guys a clip of if you practice consistently what you could possibly do with the quebradita. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy.
Una de estas noches, no voy a abrazarte, voy a seducirte, voy a devorarte. Un ratito llegaré, miau, miau, y con esta caricia ya verás que te conmigo, miau, miau, que me solo tú serás, voy a tenerte a ti. Ya estoy aquí para cantarles a la bonitas, a las taquitas, a la bonita, a la morenita, a la bailado. Les canto así, a las solteras, a las casadas, a los estudiantes, a más de casa, a todas las chicas son bailadoras. Contigo, pero sola.
So like I said, you definitely would need a lot of training for this type of dance. I actually used to dance La Quebradita when I was in high school, but then it just got too hard. But definitely, if you have the time of learning it, it's a really cool dance. Okay, so one thing that if you guys ever do have the option of is definitely traveling to Mexico. It's full of rich culture, very friendly people. I think Mexicans are very hospitable as well, and we always love, meeting new people and sharing our culture and food, and even like getting to know other cultures as well. But I just wanted to point out some of my favorite cities and just give you guys a visualization of what they look like. So this is Mexico City. And this is Guadalajara. You guys might recognize some of the names. This is Guanajuato. I think this is my favorite city. Well, it's basically like this city like inside a valley, but it's full of bright colors, and the streets are pretty narrow. It kind of reminds me a lot of like Spain as well. And I think a lot of buildings in Mexico actually have like similar Spanish, like the Catholic Roman architecture, because we were colonized. This is Acapulco. You guys might heard of Cancun, but Acapulco is like the cousin of Cancun. So, if you ever want to go on summer vacation, definitely check it out. So some of the famous traditions that you guys may have known or haven't, but we celebrate the Day of the Dead. Basically, this is 2 days where it involves of honoring our ancestors that have passed away. So we usually set up an altar with like different items that they have, and then decorate the altar with flowers. And then usually we create like a path of flowers because we kind of believe that like our ancestors at night will be able to come into our homes if they see the path of the flowers into the altar, and then have the last bread or like have the last beer, you know, whatever they like. And then something else I wanted to share is quinceañeras. So I think actually this is kind of dying down, but it used to be very popular or very common for families to celebrate the coming of age of a woman who's turning 15 years old. And this is, we celebrate this because it's like her transitioning from being a child to a teen. So it's a very, it's more of a celebration for the family, but it's really cool because she puts on this like very elegant like dress that looks like a princess, like a traditional princess dress, and then she does dances and various you know, traditions as well. So I actually had a quinceañera, and this is me. I don't think I've changed that much, but yeah, I think it was like probably, it was a really fun day because I had my quinceañera here in the United States, and I actually had like mariachi, and most of my friends who actually weren't exposed to this type of celebration, it was their first time, so it was really nice to share this special moment and expose them to my you know, traditions, the Mexican traditions. But yeah, so at the end, I just have any preguntas, any questions that you got that I can answer. I know this was like a crash course of Mexico because I have a limited time, but yeah, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Ren, what was the name of the celebration for transferring from child to a teen?
Oh, it's called a quinceañera.
Yeah, you've been promising us to invite us to your sister's one. When is that?
I know, it's actually kind of, my sister doesn't want to have one. She told my family that she just wants to like travel, but yeah, she didn't want to have one. So I have to wait until my other sister turns 15.
Invite the world around you to that.
Definitely, definitely.
Thank you for your presentation, Ren. That was really cool, especially the video. So let's switch to Fatima, who's going to be presenting Palestine.
Hello, my name is Fatima from Palestine, as Omar said. I'm sharing my screen now. So Palestine is in the west of Asia. It's surrounded by Lebanon, Egypt, and Jordan, Syria. The name Palestine came originally from the Philistines who came to Palestine in the 12th centuries BC. Palestine is only 26,999 kilometers squared, but fun fact about Palestine, that the architecture, it really changes from the inland to the coastal cities. The building techniques changed as the culture varied from inland to coast, or agriculture to fishing. So did the art, which is pretty amazing for such a small place. So Palestine has been, the land of Palestine have been decreasing because of occupation. So now our map, unfortunately, looks like less than the last picture, the 2005. But I'm gonna take you on a visit about and show you the nice and beautiful part of Palestine. So we have Jericho. Jericho is actually one of the oldest cities in the world. There were over 20 settlements found in Jericho dating back to 11,000 years ago. And one of the first settlement that was found, it's 9,000 BCE. Currently, the population of Jericho is 20,000 people, but one of the most famous and historical places in Jericho is the Hisham Palace, which was built by Khalifa Walid ibn Yazid, and it actually demonstrates the Islamic classical art. It was built from sandstone and baked brick. And also the Hisham Palace is considered the last suffocated desert palaces in the region. Next to Jericho, we have the Dead Sea, the saltiest bodies of water on earth. It's also the lowest point of earth. And the healing water of the Dead Sea has been used for many healing and like beauty purposes since biblical times. Even Queen Cleopatra loved Dead Sea products for skincare. So basically, it's just a big spa on earth. And very interesting and unusual feature of the Dead Sea that it spits up small bubbles from the bottom to the bubbles of asphalt from the bottom to the surface, and ancient Egyptians used to use it and used to get it and import it to use in mummification process. Just a question, guys, can you see my Zoom screen? Like the Zoom small
can
thing.
see your slide.
Yes.
Next to my slide? Okay, that's bothering me a little bit.
That's all right, go ahead.
Well, we have the Holy City, Jerusalem. It's very important for 3 Abrahamic religions. For Christians, we have where the church of Sepulchre, where Jesus was crucified. And for Muslims, there is Al-Aqsa Mosque, where Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did his night trip from Mecca. And from there, where this golden dome is built, there is the stone where they believed he ascended to the sky and prayed with the souls of the other prophets. And Jerusalem is also considered the most sacred place site in Judaism. There was a temple, but now there's only a wall remained from the temple. Next, there are some main coastal cities. Gaza, where I am from, where my family currently lives there. Well, this mosque isn't a historical place. It's pretty recent, but I love it, and I love the view. One of the main historical places in Gaza is Qasr al-Basha, the other picture under Gaza. So this is it served as a seat of power in the Mamluk and Ottoman periods, and also under British colonization, it became a police station. Now half of it is a museum, and the other half is used for a girls' school. It would be pretty cool to go to a school that used to be a palace. The other city is Haifa. Haifa is actually one of the main cities in Palestine, one of the main ports, and due to its very strategic location, it's always one of the first cities that used to get occupied. Its landscape of steep cliffs rolling down to shores give it beautiful setting. We can see in this picture Baha'i Gardens. Baha'i Gardens, as you see, have their very beautiful terraces, and they're called Baha'i because of where the Baha'i faith started there. It basically has the tomb of the Iranian Mirza al-Muhammad. Next, I want to talk about Palestinian embroidery. Basically, embroidery is a very main part of our culture. It has been used to decorate clothes and clothing for centuries. It's a traditional way for women to express their individual skills and connection to the village and to their peers, and it's passed from generation to generation. This map shows how every region in Palestine have their own unique embroidery pattern. And that's how back in the days they used to know what region are you from in Palestine. Women and men wear it. And it's not only for clothes. For example, these are the dresses for women, but we use it basically to decorate pillows. There are like the reading tags, and you have jewelry boxes, whatever. I personally have my purse here that my aunt made me before I left to college, and like a headband that I wear just casually. So now a lot of the new generation is trying to mix the old traditional embroidery with modern fashion. So there's embroidery on like denim jackets, leather skirts, and the traditional dance is dabka. I'm gonna show you a small video after the presentation. So dabka before 1947, before Palestine was occupied, it used to be more for weddings and celebrations, which still are. There is no wedding that lacks from a dabka group or dabka performance. Like my school, whatever events we have in school, we would have a dabka performance. But especially after 1947, dabka has been a way of resistance. So like the performances they do, the songs they dance to, there are a lot of Palestinian refugees or Palestinians who gained other citizenships in the world, whether it became Americans or Europeans. They still form dabka clubs and dabka dances there. Next, so if Pangea was in person, you'd see me cooking the first two dishes. We have makluba, the rice dish. It's a very traditional Palestinian dish. The fun fact about it is it's called makluba, which is literally upside down because you put whatever you want to throw on the top, you put in the bottom of the pot, and then you flip it, and it's like a major event. We have huge, because our families are big, so we would have huge makluba pots, and it really takes strength to flip. The other dish underneath it is musakhan. It's also traditional Palestinian. It's spicy, but the spices that are used in it, they're not hot spices. They're more of like sour and really interesting spices. I also like to show typical Palestinian breakfast. So because we're in the Mediterranean, we're very, like, our food we have a lot of olive trees, and our food is basically everything has olive oil. And as you see, we have like two types of olives at least on breakfast, falafel and hummus. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it, which are two main dishes of chickpeas. And yeah, few other. So I'm gonna show just a second, I'm gonna show the video of, so the video is, so as you know, Jesus was born in Palestine, Bethlehem. So just I thought it'd be funny to show Palestinian traditional dance with like Santa hats, and next to the Church of Nativity was where he was born, and where basically Christmas is celebrated. So I just, yeah, wanted to show a quick part of the video. Any questions?
Thank you, Fatima. Once again, you really reminded me of home and all the food that we have. If no one has any questions, we're going to proceed to Life Beyond Borders. And that's going to be presented by, I believe, Safir. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen. Thank you,
So,
Fatima.
thank you, Fatima. Actually, Life Beyond Borders, some of the presentations are going to be presented by Ren, Fatima, and Mariam. So, Ren, I think she's going to go ahead and start it off.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy.
Thanks, Sophia. Okay, so we're the club that we're representing today is Life Beyond Borders, and it's actually very exciting because we're a new club this term. And so Sophia and I actually partnered together to create this club. We were both really passionate about advocating for refugees from all over the world and trying to find some type of relief to help, that make their lives a little bit better. We obviously can't fix every refugee issue. We don't have the power to, but the least we can do is, educate people and encourage more people to actually do some type of humanitarian work with refugees as well. So yeah, Sophia and I established this club this term, and our club has been actually pretty successful so far. We've had a few events, and today who's going to present as well is Mariam and Fatima, and we will basically focus on sharing different stories from different countries, and focus on different themes as well. But Mariam is going to be the vice president of next year. Safir will be the president, and Fatima is also a club member. So I am I feel very happy that, this club will actually be put into good hands next year. So if you guys are interested in being a part of this club, we do have our last general body meeting on Wednesday during common hour. You can check our emails, but next year the club will still be up and running. So I'll start. Okay, so the first story that I wanted to talk about is the story about Adouk Barek, who lived through the Sudanese Civil War. So just a brief information, the Civil War caused her to leave to Ethiopia with her husband and 2 young children, and she underwent many challenges and hardships. And so this is just something that she said regarding her journey. It was a big challenge leaving Sudan to go to Ethiopia. We walked to Ethiopia and it took us a month. It was difficult as it was a new area, very hard. We went with lost boys. There was about 300 to 400 people who lost their parents and they missed their parents. They couldn't cope and the weather was bad and no good food. It took a while for the UNHCR to find us. So the next part is how she lived in a refugee camp in Kenya. So after living in Ethiopia for 6 years, she actually was forced back to go to Sudan. And then later they found out by the UNHCR that they had to move to a camp in Kenya. So she says, "It was a very hard life. I can't imagine it now, but it was a very tough life. It was very scary. So hot and windy and a lot of dust. You don't know what's going to happen to your future or your kids. The kids needed education, and so did we. There were a lot of insecurities." So then they actually moved to Australia. So after another 5 years living in Kenya, Adouk's family was relocated to Australia in 1997. And she says, "The people were really nice. The day we came, it was raining, and a man named Mark came to pick us up. They helped us a lot and taught us everything. We don't forget them, and we are still in contact sometimes. I was a nurse in Sudan. I kept doing that when I went to refugee camps at a clinic, and I was giving medication away. So I continued here, and now I have a certificate 3, and I want to do certificate 4. It's good to help people. It reminds me back home where I took care of the lost boys." So the second story that I'm going to share is actually about a girl who fled from Syria because of the war, and one of her aspirations was to become a lawyer. So I'm just going to share you her story. "My brother encouraged me to study because he loves school. He encouraged me to go to high school when I was 17. I did my first year of college. but then college was bombed. I really wanted to be a lawyer. I loved the law. I wanted to defend the oppressed. I remember my house, our car. Mostly I remember my teachers, my friends. I remember how we used to play together. I miss those things a lot. I even miss the English teacher who used to be really strict if we didn't do my work. I really miss her. After all, she didn't care about my education, or else she wouldn't be so mean, right? As soon as the teacher would leave the classroom, we would goof off. She was really tough with us. It was mainly for our own good. I don't know where she is. I had all my books, school papers, test grades, and everything in a closet in my bedroom that I left behind in Aleppo. We only had the clothes we were wearing when we left. It was sudden. Mostly I miss my best friend. She was like my sister. We would talk on phone for hours when we weren't at school together. I don't know where she is now. I wanted to be a lawyer too. It was tough. There's so many things we are missing out living here in the camps. We built this tent ourselves and it gets so dusty. We had to get used to not having furniture and sitting on the floor, but it's okay. It is having no education that's really hard for me. I really would have liked to continue my studies. I think about being a lawyer, going to an office, presenting in court, defending people there in need of my help. Everyone saying how great of a lawyer I am. I always wanted to be one. It's still my dream to go back to Syria. And I can only say inshallah, which means God willing. And I hope I cannot lose hope. It's been 4 years now. I hope I can still be a lawyer one day. I want so much to go back to my school. If you ask who am I want you to know that I am very brave and courageous, and the world can see me as a lawyer once I finish my studies. Okay, so the next story, Mariam will share. So Maria, if you can unmute yourself and then.
Thanks, Ren. Hi guys, I'm Miriam, and I wanted to share a story about family, my cousin, in fact, leaving our country, Afghanistan, where I'm from, and eventually reaching Turkey, being a refugee myself, moving from, Russia here, but being originally from Afghanistan, like I mentioned, I understand that it can be tough leaving family and not being able to visit back in Afghanistan, because obviously it is a war-stricken country, so it's unsafe to be there. But basically, my cousin's story, if you can switch the slide around, he left Afghanistan, being born and raised there. He left his family behind in order to reach safety. He wanted to be able to advocate for himself and use his education. He had gone to college for 2 years, and seeing that there wasn't many jobs offered there, and there was poor economy, he had to leave to be able to use his education to help himself and his family, and most importantly, to seek safety elsewhere. He told me that the trip began with about 40 people traveling 25 days to reach Iran border in a van. And when reaching Iran, he found a job that paid him enough to basically feed him, and that job consisted of heavy lifting. He told me and shared pictures, which I didn't post just for privacy, but carrying a 3-person couch up and down the stairs by yourself and getting paid only enough to be able to feed yourself. Then the trip to Turkey, they found a way to leave Iran and travel to Turkey. My cousin, along with other families, had found a chance to seek asylum. There was 300 people on this trip, and there were 16 people per like a Corolla-sized car, small car. He told me about 4 or 5 people would be shoved in a trunk, and the rest of them would be all sitting in seats. And they traveled 9 hours to somewhere near the Turkey area, and then they had to walk and climb mountains for 17 hours. And this was a lot of work, especially because a lot of the people who were there were there with their families, young children. And he was telling me that it was very cold, that their skin was just peeling off because it was so cold. They had to spend the night and sleep and rest for a couple of hours, kind of scattered along the way. And once they had made their journey for 17 hours with a little bit of rest, they reached a mosque where they stayed and spent some time to rest. And they were all praying that they didn't get caught by the police, because if they did, they would be forced back into Iran. And unfortunately, they did get caught. So after, doing 17 hours of walking and climbing mountains and a long car ride, they were forced back into Iran. And this picture on your left is them traveling up the mountains with all those 300 people and the families that were there. You can see young kids, them carrying bags on their back. And then the photo on the right shows how the families would scatter just to sit and rest with one another and then start their journey again. So despite thinking, and he told me that, I can't do this anymore, I give up, my cousin turned to his faith and prayed for strength to move on and reach his goals. A lot of this travel that he was talking about happened during the month of Ramadan, which is the month that we Muslims fast and make a lot of prayers and read Quran and sacrifices and donations. They took the same trip through the mountains once again, not giving up. And once reaching Turkey, they were able to spend nights in a train station and just stations and open areas that they could find. That picture on that side shows you guys how they slept, all just basically on top of one another, trying to make it day by day. And as far as food goes, I said that it was the month of Ramadan, so there were a lot of donations being made by people, and they would use those food or those monetary donations to feed themselves and to make it through. As we saw in a previous picture, their travel up the mountains and through the mountains, during that time, my cousin broke his leg. This was a couple of days into the trip, and that trip lasted about 25 days. And he continued with a broken leg. I don't know how he did it, but finally, when reaching Turkey, the UN was able to reach them. And at first, the UN wouldn't believe that he broke his leg. They were just saying, you're faking it in order to be able to stay here. And he had to tell them, okay, if you believe that I'm doing this to be able to stay in Turkey, then take me to the hospital. And if that's not the case, then I will leave myself. And of course, they took him, and his injury was so severe that he ended up having surgery and staying in the hospital for an entire week. And once his surgery was over, he didn't have, on the next slide, I described finally being in Turkey, finding a job that, again, paid him $75 versus the normal person would get paid $200 for that heavy work that they did. And after being in the hospital for a week, he couldn't afford, taxis or transportation. So he ended up walking home and walking to anywhere, including work or having to buy some groceries to feed himself. He was later joined by my family, my uncle and my aunt, who came over, and I know that is great because not a lot of people get that opportunity to join their families once again. And he says that he wasn't able to reach his goals completely, but he's working towards them. And he says that the most important thing is that we are safe. So I think this is just one of the many stories that shines light on the refugee crisis and how people are separated and their long journeys that they take in order to reach their goals, and more importantly, safety. Thank you.
Thank you guys for presenting. It's really inspiring. Let's open up the opportunity for questions. Anyone in the panel or
Omar,
list of attendees?
so we have one more story. It will be presented by Fatima.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's me again. Basically, I'm gonna start with a story for my grandma and then the story of how I got here to Union. In 1948, October, Al-Nakba happened. It's been it started happening since earlier that year, kind of since April, but my grandparents were forced to leave their town in October. So my grandma tells me the story as, for all we knew, a lady with 6 men entered our town. They claimed they were lost. We told them, "Peace be upon you," and they headed towards our water well. As they claimed they were thirsty, once they reached it, they pulled out their guns that they have hidden in their bags and coats, and they started shooting. I started throwing rocks, and the men in the town attacked them. We managed to take them down, but later in the night, armed Zionist groups attacked us. They destroyed our houses, schools, mosques, etc. They lined up our men and started shooting them. We had to run for our lives. And that's how they went to Gaza. So I'm not originally from Gaza. I live in a refugee camp in Gaza. We're originally from a city, Beer-Sheva. It's in the south of Palestine. My grandma goes on, we went back later to see what's left of our belongings, to harvest some of our crops for food, and to find some materials to make ourselves tents to live in. When they, Zionists, saw us, they started shouting, "Arabs, Arabs," and then they started shooting at us. I threw myself into a group of cactus trees and other trees with thorns, and I hid there. The bullets were flying around me. They were going between my legs. My hair started falling, and my body was poked by thorns. Later, UNRWA, which is UN Relief and Work Agency for Refugees, built the refugee camps, built schools, as you see in the picture on the left, and that's the schools my dad got education in. And then on the right, these are the health centers, and my mom actually works in these health centers. So my grandma was able to start a new life in Gaza. She got married and got 11 kids. She raised them to be doctors, engineers, teachers. And then after a while, when they finally saved and built a house, it was completely destroyed. So we moved again to that. I was 2 years old, 2 to 3 years old, and we moved to refugee camp again. Then our house was partly destroyed, and when it was, I remember that I had a garden where I used to get flowers for my teachers in kindergarten, and when it was destroyed, I was extremely upset. I had a swing there and I had my stuff, so I just didn't want to go to school anymore. And my grandma, being a powerful and strong woman, she motivated me and would tell me her story and how she had to quit to stop going to school, and that I need to. So and then we moved later to a better refugee camp, but 2 wars happened in between, and the last war, 3 wars. The last war, my school was partly destroyed. We spent the year with no windows. We had just put some pieces of cloth or something for the rain, and labs were affected. So basically, I kind of didn't have a lab before coming here. Then I came to the US and other programs throughout my high school years, and I decided to apply to Union, which is a very complicated journey just to travel because Gaza is located. There are only 2 ways out. One of them is in the picture to the right, that's the cross point with Egypt, and it's not open. You have to apply for a permit that needs to happen few months before your travel date, and it's not guaranteed that you get it. For example, I applied for mine even before being accepted. I applied in December and I got my permit from Egypt while I was here in Union winter term. So basically kind of a year or more than a year after. And the picture on the left is the checkpoint with Israel. And both actually, like Israel has authority over both, even though in Egypt they still get a say in it. So the one with Israel, you also have to, I can't actually apply myself. I don't have the right to because I'm a Gazan citizen. So the only way that they will let you travel if you're sponsored by an international organization or by the US. So I got a scholarship that is funded by the American consulate, and that's how, and they applied for me. First, my permit for visa was rejected, so I could not go to Jerusalem to get my visa. And then they applied for another permit, just like a passing permit through the rest of Palestine, Israel, and to Jordan. So we can get our visas there. When we reached the night before we traveled, they sent our scholarship an email that they forwarded us. They were not allowing us to take any suitcase with wheels, and they had a lot of restrictions. For example, no laptop or any electronic devices, which, like, I'm a college student, so I had to have my laptop, but I could not. Only your phone and your charger. Even headphones were not allowed. And no books, no food, just few clothes. And then we reached the border, and at the checkpoint they were like, okay, you have to sign this paper if you need to leave, that you are not allowed to go back, or you're not allowed to enter any part of Palestine or Israel for 2 years. So most of us were below 18. We still didn't have our visas to the US. So we were in front of soldiers without our parents, but we were like, okay, and we did it. So then thankfully I got my visa and I managed to get here. This is a picture of me in front of the knot from after the first Pangea event. But as I said, like, it wasn't guaranteed to get a visa. For example, one of the students, he did not get his visa and he had to be stuck in Jordan for months till he applied to somewhere else. He applied to Turkey and then he settled there. So, and due to this blockade, I haven't been home since then, since 2017. Because even in order to go back after, like, this summer, yes, the 2 years are over, but in order to go back, I still need permission from Israel or Egypt, and to leave again, it's even gonna be way harder. So, and like the 3 months summer break aren't enough to do all of that. So we stayed in Gaza. Other family members immigrated to Jordan or to Europe. And even until now, because the situation in Gaza is extremely bad, I have cousins who are seeking asylum in Belgium, for example. They went through Turkey, then Greece, and to Europe. So the catastrophe in Palestine happened 72 years ago, but it's still ongoing, and it kind of started then, but it's still going till this day.
Thank you, Fatima, for your presentation. Thank you, Ren and Mariam, for your stories. We're gonna open up questions for a few seconds if there are any questions. Otherwise, we'll proceed to Jamie's presentation along with other panelists. And if you can go ahead and share your screen. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. So now we're going to be presenting India as our country, and I would like to introduce my 3 other panelists who are helping me present today. 2 of them being incoming freshmen and 1 of them being a junior, Prajav, Manav, and Ansh. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Hi, everyone. I'm Manav. So, what's better than the Indian national flag to start with? Also known as Tiranga, which literally translates to tricolor. The flag comprises of India saffron, white, and India green, with the Ashoka Chakra, a 24 spoke wheel in navy blue at its center. It was adopted in its present form on 22nd July 1947 and became the official flag on 15th August 1947 when India became independent. We Indians love symbolism. Fagwa, or the saffron on the top, denotes renunciation. The white in the center is light, the part of truth, to guide our conduct. The green shows our relation to the soil, our relation to the plant life here, on which all life depends. The Ashoka Chakra in the center of the white is the wheel of law of Dharma. Dharma is a word which yet has no translation in any of the Western languages. By law, the flag is to be made out of khadi, a special type of hand-spun cloth made popular by Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation. India is one of those countries which stands for its ancient culture and traditions which range through centuries. This is the Sanchi Stupa. This is the oldest stone structure in India, commissioned by Emperor Ashoka. This structure also contains several relics of Lord Buddha. This is the Sun Temple. It is dedicated to Surya Dev, which means the sun god. It was commissioned by King Narasimha Deva. The temple complex is in the shape of a chariot with wheels carved on it. This is the Taj Mahal, one of the seven wonders of the world since 2007. This structure was commissioned by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. The structure is actually the tomb of his late wife Mumtaz Mahal. Taj Mahal is built with white marble and is a symbol of love. This is the Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. It's a historical terminal train station designed by British-born architectural engineer Frederick William Stevens in 1878. The station's name was earlier Victoria Terminus, but then changed to Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus on March 1996 to honor Shivaji, the 17th century founder of the Maratha Empire, whose name is often preceded by Chhatrapati, which is a royal title.
Talking about festivals, the first festival we'll be looking at is Holi. This festival is also known as the Festival of Colors, and it celebrates the triumph of good over evil, where in the morning on the day of Holi, everyone comes around and tries to like put colors on one and each other to celebrate this festival. One key factor of this festival is the food that is made, and a specialty of this is the thandai that is made. It is an Indian drink that helps you cool your body down, and it is very, very popular. Another festival we'll be looking at is Diwali, also considered the festival of light. It marks the new Hindi New Year, and As you can see in front of you is a picture of a rangoli, which is a hand-drawn, designed, and this festival is really important as it not only marks a new year, but it also marks the day that the king Ram returned home from 13 years of exile. The next festival we'll be looking at is Eid. Eid is a festival also celebrated in Eid is a festival also celebrated in India. Being a secular nation, we have a lot of cultures and religion, and we're really diverse. And this is a festival that is highly celebrated too. And the last festival I would like to talk about is Raksha Bandhan. Raksha Bandhan is a festival that is celebrated to mark the union of a brother and a sister, where they promise to protect each other, and where the sister prays for her brother's safety, and she ties a rakhi, as shown in the picture, on the brother's hand, and in return, the brother always promises to protect her. Another really interesting thing about India is its food. As you know, that Indian cuisine is really famous all around the world, and I thought it would be amazing if everyone had an opportunity to learn a few things. So I've come up with two dishes which are really easy to make and are really popular. First one being lassi. It is a sweetened drink. The first step for making lassi, after you put sugar, you're gonna take a whisk. Over here, the wooden image you see is called a jar. It's usually used to mix these two properly. So you can use a whisk, and you need to whisk the milk. I mean, this is the drink. You can add a little water to decrease the thickness of the drink so you can enjoy it. But this is a drink that is highly consumed in India. Another another food item that is also very famous is stuffed paratha. The first thing you need to make paratha is you gotta make dough. Stuffed paratha is also some sort of Indian bread, stuffed Indian bread. And for this, you can use all-purpose flour along with some oil and water, and you can mix it to get a dough-like structure. And after you're done with this, you need to let it rest for at least 20 to 30 minutes. And after this, you move on to the second step, where you're gonna take a small part of the dough and you get the shape out of it. Um, After that, you can make any sort of stuffing that you like, but I prefer this stuffing, which is cottage cheese, or cheddar cheese would work, or processed cheese, along with corn and spinach and onions if you like them, but I do not. So this is what I use. And after making this mixture, you're gonna take some dough and you're gonna flatten it out, and you can use some more all-purpose flour to smoothen the surface and flatten it out. After you flatten it out, you're going to add the stuffing to it, and you're going to wrap it up. And after that, you can take a hot pan, add some butter to it, and let it rest and bake. This is really easy and quick to do. And with this, you'll have the stuffed paratha ready, which is delicious and amazing to eat. One thing every Indian usually loves as a breakfast.
Music in India is said to have been an integral part of the lives of its people, dating back to the Vedic times, and have been a common feature in a lot of mythological epics through the ages. It's a blend of many cultural aspects and is flavored by a great deal of Persian and Arabic influence. The music focuses on careful manipulation of microtones, notes, ornamentations, melodies, and rhythmic patterns to create intricate and expressive works of art. Its beauty lies in its versatility and variety. Different instruments, languages, styles, and scales give rise to a plethora of subgenres, all with their own distinct features and lore. Music is a spectacle which is often performed in a majestic fashion in India, resulting in an equally expansive collection of dance styles as well, some of which you may even be familiar with. There's Dhrupad, Bhajan, Bhangra, Rajasthani, Carnatic, Raga, Qawwali, and Bollywood music too, to name a few. Music is used to coordinate and culminate many events, and it has a huge role in Indian festivals, fairs, and celebrations. To culminate this segment, we present to you the Breathless Song by Shankar Mahadevan.
कोई जो मिला तो मुझे ऐसा लगता था जैसे मेरी सारी दुनिया में गीतों की रुत और रंगों की बरखा है, खुशबू की आंधी है, महकी हुई सी अब सारी फिजाएं है, बहकी हुई सी अब सारी हवाएं हैं, खोई हुई सी अब सारी दिशाएं हैं, बदली हुई सी अब सारी अदाएं हैं, जागी उमंग है, धड़क रहा है दिल, सांसों में तूफान हो, दुख में है, आंखों में सपने हैं, सपनों में बीते हुए सारे वो लम्हे हैं, जब कोई आया था नजरों पे छाया था, दिल में समाया था, कैसे मैं बताऊं तुम्हें कैसा उसे पाया था, प्यार से चेहरे पे खिली तो जुल्फे तो ऐसा लगता था जैसे कमर के पीछे की ओस में धुला हुआ फूल खिला है, जैसे बादल में एक चांद छुपा है और झांक रहा है, जैसे रात के पर्दे में एक सवेरा है, रोशन रोशन आंखों में सपनों का सागर, जिसमें प्रेम सितारों की चादर जैसे झलक रही है, लहरों लहरों बात करे जैसे मोती बरसे, जैसे कहीं रात की पायल गूंजे, जैसे कहीं शीशे के जाम गिरे और घर से टूटे, जैसे कोई छिप के सितार बजाए, जैसे कोई चांदनी रात में गाए, जैसे कोई रोने से बाजू बुलाए, कैसी मीठी बात थी वो, कैसी मुलाकात थी वो, जब मैंने जाना था नजरों से कैसे निकल गई दिल और आसमान में, कैसी मंजिल और कैसे उतरता है चांद जमीन पर, कैसे कभी लगता है स्वर्ग दिल में बस मिले, बताया मुझे और समझाया मुझे, हम जो मिले हैं हमें ऐसे ही मिलते हैं, जो खिले हैं उन्हें ऐसे ही खिलना था, जन्मों में रिश्ते हैं जो भी हम करेंगे, जो हम जो भी मिलते हैं खानों में, मेरे जैसे शहद जब खुलने लगे खाबों के, मेरे जैसे आंखों में खुलने लगे खाबों की दुनिया थी, कितनी हसी और कितनी रंगीन थी, खाबों की दुनिया जो कहने को थी पर कहीं भी नहीं थी, खाब जो मुझे मेरे आंख जो खुली मेरी होश जो आए, मुझे मैंने देखा मैंने कहना वो तो कभी आया था, नजरों पे छाया था, दिल में समाया था, दाग चुका है और दिल मेरा है अब तक कहना, न तो कोई अरमा है न कोई तमन्ना है न कोई सपना है, जो मेरे दिन और रात जो मेरी रातें हैं, उनमें सिर्फ आंसू है, उनमें सिर्फ दर्द की रंज की बातें हैं, और फरियाद है मेरा अब कोई नहीं, मैं हूँ और खोए हुए प्यार की यादें हैं, मैं हूँ और खोए हुए प्यार की यादें हैं, मैं हूँ और खोए हुए प्यार की यादें हैं.
Thank you so much for tuning in and watching us present our country.
Thank you so much, guys. That was great. Love the music. Let's switch to questions. Anyone? Come on, guys. Feel free to ask any question. That's why we're here. Traditionally, when we have tables, people would come around and start asking questions to each table, and you get to learn more when you ask personal questions. So go ahead and feel free to ask any questions. In that case, we will go ahead and proceed with Venezuela. Andreina Negriti is going to be presenting next. So if you can go ahead and share your screen.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Omar. I'll be presenting Venezuela. So most of you won't know, but this is the Venezuela soccer team shirt. That's why I'm wearing it. And in Latin America, soccer is a huge thing in general. So my presentation is a bit different today. I'm gonna be showing a video of myself making arepas. So arepas is a typical food of Venezuela. And I'll be explaining a bit more of what is an arepa in the video. I hope you like it. Hi everyone, my name is Andreina Negreti. I'm from Venezuela and I'm going to teach you how to make arepas. Arepas are really easy to make, and I personally usually eat it during breakfast or dinner. And you open it and you fill it out with whatever you want, either cheese, avocado, tomato, ham, everything is possible. You can make the arepas in different ways. You can fry them, you can grill them, and in this case, I'm gonna use the air fryer because I don't want to fry them, but I want them toasted. So you're gonna need a bowl. The size is gonna depend on how many arepas you wanna make. You need, we call this harina pan. Harina means flour in Spanish, and we usually use this specific flour to make the arepas, but it's basically pre-cooked white corn flour. Then you're gonna need salt and water. The first step is gonna be adding the water into the bowl. Then we're gonna add the salt. And finally, we add our harina pan and we start mixing it. You can see here that the idea is not to have a super dry texture, neither a super wet one. Now we grab a portion of our flour and start making a bowl with it. Now that you have your bowl, you start pressing the sides of the arepa. You have to be careful with the cracks because you don't want them in your arepa. This is how it should look like. Next step, you get a pan and you add a little bit of oil in it. We place our arepas and then turn them every 5 minutes. You have to be careful not to burn them, and this is how they should look like when they're ready. As I mentioned before, I decided today to do them in the air fryer. Now that my arepas are ready, I need to open them in order to fill them. I'm going to fill this arepa with white cheese and fried plantains. We call them tajadas in Venezuela. And that's how we make arepas. Now what I do is I usually make more than I need that day, and then I use a zipper bag to store them in the fridge. And whenever you want to eat them, you can just put it in the air fryer or the toaster, and you have an arepa ready. Two fun facts about arepas are that they also eat them in Colombia, but they make them differently. Same with the western side of Venezuela. They don't use corn flour, they use wheat flour. And there's a debate between, well, a friendly debate between Colombians and Venezuelans about who created the arepa. And the other fun fact is that in Venezuela we have names for arepas. So if you fill it with shredded cheese and meat, it's called la pelúa. If you fill it with avocado and chicken, it's called reina pepiada. So the arepa world has infinite possibilities, and we basically eat it as a bread. How is it?
Si quieres nos besamos.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Negretti. I'm from Venezuela. I hope you liked it, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them.
That was a great video, Andrina. Thank you so much. Any questions from the panel? How long did it take you to cook the arepas?
Usually it takes me only 15 minutes maybe, because I do it faster than just recording myself, but yeah.
That's great. Let's see. Next person.
There's a Spanish comment asking which one is my favorite, ¿cuál es tu favorita? And my favorite arepa is reina pepiada, avocado with chicken.
The next person to present is Parsa Kevani from Iran. Thank you, Andreina, again. And Parsa, if you want to go ahead and share your screen.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So hey guys, my name is Parsa, and today I'll be giving you guys some information about my home country, Iran. So as you can see on the left side, you can see the our flag, which consists of 3 colors. And each color has a special meaning, a special symbol to it. So for example, green represents Islam and growth, white represents honesty and peace, and red represents bravery and martyrdom. So we're located in West Asia, which is in Middle East. We're about 84 million. Our population is about 84 million. And the weather, for the weather, we have 4 seasons, which means that in the summer it gets really hot, and in the winter it gets super cold. We also get snow and rain. So 98% of the population actually identifies as Muslim, which is a big percentage. So now, most popular sport. The most popular sport in Iran is soccer. We love playing soccer anywhere, indoors, outdoors, on the streets. We also love watching soccer and cheering for our national team, our national soccer team. And that's probably why we have a strong national soccer team. Now we go to Iran's culture. So Persian culture is famous for beautiful poetry, luxurious rugs, and lush gardens. Actually, I'm going to give you a cool fact about Iran. That the English word paradise actually comes from a Persian word meaning enclosed garden. And as you can see in the picture, we have very beautiful sites, museums that you can visit. And here are the rug. So this is a Persian rug, and then this is a calligraphy, Persian calligraphy in the bottom. And so Persian cuisine, so the majority of times our food is eaten with rice, various herbs, cheese, and naan. The reason why our dishes taste so good and unique at the same time is because most of the ingredients we use in the dish is harvested in our own country. And we use many different Persian spices, which you'll see shortly when I cook one of my favorite Persian dish called zaresh polo, which is this is the picture of it. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to make the dish. One sec. Perfect. So I added oil, and then I'm adding paprika. Then I'm adding onions. Then we're gonna stir this for like about 5 minutes. And then we're adding the tomato paste, 2 tablespoons. We're gonna stir it. Also in about like 2 minutes or so with normal heat. And now I'm gonna add my chicken breast. So you wanna cook this for about like 10 minutes or so. And now we're gonna add the water. We're gonna add 2 cups of water here. And then stir again. Now we're adding the black pepper, just a little bit. And then parsley, basil, and garlic. Now you want to stir it again. Now you want to set the temperature to low, like very low, and then you want to put the lid on. So after 30 minutes, it would look like this. And now we're ready to add our baby carrots. We're adding salt here. So we're just gonna let it sit there for like 15 minutes. We don't want the carrots to get too we don't want it to get too like you know what, like also here we're adding the rice with the slow cooker for like 40 minutes, and this is saffron actually that I prepared with ice. So the reason why adding ice is because it enriches that like color and flavor. And now these are barberries. And now we're adding oil again. And we're gonna cook the barberries very little, like 10 minutes. And now we're adding the sugar. And now everything's ready. Our chicken stew's ready, our barberries are ready, and our rice is ready. This is how it looks. Alrighty. I'm done. Any questions that you guys might have, I'm happy to take them. And
Thank you, Parsa. This was great.
yeah, you're welcome.
And one more question, similar question that I asked before. Is it how long does it take you to make that?
So this dish took me about like 2 hours. But I basically like went on like fast. The video that I recorded, I put it on like super fast so that you guys couldn't see the entire dish getting prepared. But I think the hardest part for the dish was probably, I would say, the rice, as well as because it should look somewhat yellowish, and that's because of the saffron that we're adding into it. And saffron, as you might know, is a spice that is also traditional to Iran. So I use that one. And also barberries is also harvested from Iran. So those two ingredients are mainly used in Iran. So
How do you pronounce the name?
Zereshk polo.
Zereshk polo. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Parsa. Right now, I think we're going to switch to, I believe, Victoria Sednikova, who is going to present Russia. Thank you, Parsa.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria. I'm this year's Russian TA, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Russia. So give me a second. I'll share my screen. So I'd like to start with, okay, give me a second. I'll connect one more time. So I wanted to start with debunking some stereotypes about Russia a little bit.
Perfect.
Yay, awesome. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So as I said, I'm going to start with debunking some stereotypes about Russia. Okay, it's going to take a second to load. While it's loading, I can actually ask some of you guys, what kind of stereotypes do you have about Russia? Who can unmute themselves and say something?
I would say they fear nothing.
You would say what?
They fear nothing.
Fear nothing.
If I may,
okay.
there's the known for vodka.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I think another one of the popular stereotypes is that, or common stereotypes is that people say that they're very cold people, which is very sad because it's not true, but.
I think Russia is always very cold. Everyone just freezes.
Right. Okay, we'll see about that. Thanks for sharing your ideas. All right. Okay, now we can finally start. So yeah, so let's see about that. So you actually mentioned the things that I'm going to talk about. What a coincidence. Oh, by the way, check out my background. Does anyone recognize what it is?
Moscow?
Yeah, that's a red square. And you can see here is the St. Basil's Cathedral, and there is the Kremlin, the tower. Where is it? This, yeah, the tower, Russian Big Ben. Okay, so let me guess, guys. So you think that Russia has cold winters all year round, and everyone drinks vodka and wears fur hats to keep warm, right? That's what you think. So, well, that's actually not true. Personally, I'm from the southern part of Russia, where we barely have snow in the winter, and the lowest temperature we experienced in the past couple of years was 5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is minus 15 Celsius. And in the summer, it can get up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 45 degrees in Celsius. So that's like really hot. The asphalt's melting, and it's unbearable to be outside. So when you can see the map, that's my hometown. I live very close to the seaside, and we share Black Sea with Turkey. And you can also see that we live, the Georgia and Azerbaijan are near. So it's like a very warm place where I'm from. So yeah, it's not cold everywhere. And also one more fact, according to the 2017 survey by Russian Public Opinion Research Center, 39% of Russians don't drink at all. Honestly, like when I read that, I was shocked and surprised. 38% of Russian citizens said that they drink once a month or even rarely. So not everyone drinks vodka in Russia. So yeah, and now a little bit about culture. And as for customs and traditions, unfortunately, a lot of them have been forgotten over time when we were the part of the Soviet Union. And these days, we usually see people dance in traditional costumes and sing folk songs in some tradition during national holiday celebrations or concerts. And in this picture, you can see Cossacks. They used to be members of democratic self-governing semi-military community. They are kind of originally from Ukraine, but as my region is very close to Ukraine, we also have this community too, and they still keep those traditions, and they tour, dancing and singing, as you can see in this picture. And it's one of these traditions that is still keeping. Another thing about culture, Russia is famous for its ballet dancers. I'm pretty sure you know that. And the Vaganova Academy of Russian Ballet is considered to be one of the best ballet schools in the world. And you can see the picture of this ballet troupe dancing. It's gorgeous. And as for holidays, we have a lot of national holidays, such as Labor Day on May 1st, where people march along the main street of their hometowns and they have shashlik or kebab outdoors. They go to, go outdoors to the nature, somewhere near the lake or river, and just have a really good time, because usually during this time of the year in May, it's really warm, everything starts to bloom, and it's just really nice to be outside, just like right now. Another holiday, that we celebrate is the Victory Day on May the 9th by recognizing the veterans of the Second World War and remembering what they've been through so that we could have peaceful sky above our heads. And in this picture, you can see the old woman, veteran, and small girl giving her I believe it's three red carnations. And this is also a tradition in Russia to give odd number of flowers for, let's say, happy occasions, and when it's a sad occasion, like someone's death, people are usually giving even number of flowers. So that's really important to remember. If someone is dating a Russian girl, give her an odd number of flowers, or she'll be really mad at you. Okay, the next slide. One of the major national holidays in Russia is New Year's Eve, which we celebrate on December 31st. And then we have 9 days off because we also celebrate Christmas on January the 8th. And people go to see fireworks at midnight on New Year's Eve on the Red Square if they celebrate it in Moscow. And they can also have fun on the ice rink. And you can see the photo of the ice rink. Again, you can see the Red Square and the St. Basil's Cathedral. So it's a really nice time to be in Moscow during New Year's, because the whole city is decorated and it's just gorgeous. Another holiday that we celebrate is the Orthodox Christmas that, as I said, we celebrate on January the 7th. And it's also a family holiday, just like here, when everyone gets together and has dinner with their close ones. And a lot of people also go to church services on Christmas Eve, which is January 6th. And you can see the photo of the church service. You can see the Christmas tree and the priest with candles. Also, another holiday that we celebrate is the International Women's Day on March the 8th. And again, everyone has a day off that day. Unfortunately, the initial meaning of this day has been kind of forgotten by many Russians, and these days it's like more about giving women bouquets, boxes of chocolates, and perfume. But I must admit that these days a lot of the younger generation, they try to bring up awareness of the importance of this day, like the historical importance that it was about equal rights, equal pay, and all of that. So the situation is kind of changing little by little. Another holiday that we also celebrate is the Defender of the Fatherland Day on February 23rd. All men, even those who haven't served in the army, usually receive gifts from women. I also have a joke about this holiday and March the 8th, as they're close to each other. The joke is, what kind of gifts women receive on March the 8th depends on what gifts they give to men on February 23rd. And we also joke that men usually receive socks, shaving cream, and ties, and that kind of thing. And as I said, women receive flowers and perfume and that kind of thing. We also have a Russian version of Mardi Gras, which is called Maslenitsa, and it lasts the whole week before Lent. People eat grapes, or which is blini, which we call in Russian, with different sorts of filling, like caviar, meat, mushrooms, curds, fruit, and other foods. And at the end of the week, we traditionally burn an effigy, the symbol of winter, to say goodbye to the cold and greet the spring. And in the photo, you can see women wearing traditional scarves, and you can see a lot of food on the table, like a lot of baking. And those little dolls, they are those effigies that symbolize winter. But the real effigy is usually big, and at the end of, as I said, the end of the week, people burn it. And after the Lent, we celebrate Easter, and a lot of people go to special church service on Easter Eve and then come home to eat all the food that they couldn't eat if they observed Lent. And on Easter, Russians usually have a big dinner with their family and relatives. And in the photo, you can see the traditional Orthodox Easter food, dyed hard-boiled eggs and Easter cake with frosting and sprinkles on top. Kids usually like to eat that frosting and sprinkles, but not the Easter cake. Okay, and now a little bit about landscapes and nature in Russia. So as you know, Russia is not covered with snow all year round, and on the contrary, we have a huge variety of landscapes, such as enormous mountains, deep forests, broad valleys, endless fields, and gorgeous seaside with sandy beaches. And in the photo on the left, you can see the beach, which is called Blue Abyss. It's in one of the southern cities that are close to the seaside, Gelendzhik. And on the right, you can see Zapadny Sayan Mountains, mountain range, and the peak, which is called Dragon's Tooth. It's just, the view is just breathtaking. And there's actually some people on top of that peak. You I don't think you can see them, but there's like a group of people there to take photos. Also on the left, you can see the Siberian taiga forest with, again, a lot of beautiful rivers and mountains. And on the right, you can see Lake Baikal, which is the biggest and the deepest freshwater lake in the world. And again, the view is just breathtaking. And Lake Baikal is beautiful all year round. In winter, it freezes, so you can walk on it, walk on ice, and it's just gorgeous. So coming to an end of my presentation. And I wanted to say that the Soviet past is still fresh in the minds of older generations and has a considerable impact on the Russian mentality. However, a lot has changed since the collapse of USSR, and Russia has borrowed many things from the Western culture, starting with cuisine and ending with architecture. And if you visit such cities as Moscow or St. Petersburg, you'll see that they resemble some European cities in some way. So globalization is slowly doing its thing, allowing us to feel home wherever we are. So that's the end of my presentation. And now I wanted to tell you a little bit about Russian music. As I've said, a lot of traditions have changed, and modern Russian music resembles Western music, European music. And the band that I'm going to tell you about and show you the video is called I Speak. And they actually became first popular in the States and in Europe too, because they originally sang and made songs in English. So you can see them. Their names are Nastya and Kirill, if I'm not mistaken. And a little bit about this band. So they decided that they wanted to release a new album where they'll record songs in Russian, because they kind of recognized that as they have Russian heritage, they probably have a lot of fans in Russia, and their songs will be also popular there. So, and after they released their album Skaska, which means fairy tale in English, in 2018, this band went through a series of random searches by the police in almost every Russian city they toured that year. And in some cases, the concert had to be canceled, and the police rarely gave any explanation why they didn't allow the shows to take place. And they would sometimes say that they had to search the venues in case there's a bomb or someone might have brought illegal substances to the show. And to my knowledge, I've read a lot of interviews about that. And in most, if not every cases, the police had no search warrants and their activity was simply outrageous. And I believe the reason why the band attracted the police's attention is because some of the lyrics, especially this ones in the song, speak about the abuse of power and tyranny of the government and the police forces. And when musicians or any other more or less famous people start speaking the truth in Russia, the government tries to silence them down. That's what's happening these days. And before we watch the video, I just wanted to show you a little bit what the song is about. So the name of the song is No More Death. And if you can, I hope you can hear, I hope you can see it, the lyrics pretty well so that you can look through it just to get the general idea what the song is going to be about so that the video will make more sense to you. There's going to be a lot of images. I would say that some of the things that you'll see could be kind of disturbing, but it's a kind of, you know, satire. Art is, can be, you know, interpreted in many different ways. But the singer of this band said that she wrote the lyrics after she watched a video, like a presentation by Putin, the Russian president, that he said that will overcome all the difficulties. And she just kind of got inspired by that, but in a slightly negative way, that she, obviously we don't really believe what the president says. So yeah, I hope you got the chance to look through the lyrics. If you have any questions, by the way, about the lyrics, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, so now let's watch the video. Tell me if you can hear it, guys, the sound. You should be able to hear it, but just in case.
Я залегла за керосином, пусть все горит, пусть все горит. На меня смотрит вся Россия, пусть все горит, пусть все горит. Я заливаю глаза керосином, пусть все горит, пусть все горит. На меня смотрит вся Россия, пусть все горит, пусть все горит. Я теперь готова ко всему на свете. Я отсидела свой срок в интернете. Выхожу на улицу гладить кота, а его переезжает тачка мента. Я иду по городу в черном.
there was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you didn't find it too disturbing or anything like that. But that was the kind of harsh reality that they try to show and depict in their video. So, and to finish on a more positive note, I wanted to share the recipe, Russian recipe with you. It's called lazy stuffed cabbage, and it's a very simple and nice recipe that you can make. And basically you need for it just some veggies like rice, onions, carrots, cabbage, and mushrooms. And you just mix all of that and in those bowls, like little bowls, and then you bake it, and then you fill it, cover it with the sauce that you make with tomato paste, mayonnaise. You can add milk to that, some spices, and then you bake it a little bit more, and then you can just let it cool a little bit for a couple of minutes and then eat it. So yeah, I'm not going to show you the video because it's I'm already taking a lot of the time, but you can definitely check it out and try it at home because it's a really nice recipe. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria, for this presentation. I don't think it was disturbing, the video. It was just particularly unique in a sense, and that's one way to showcase cultures. And thank you for the recipe. I just wanted to note that's something I would cook. So we're gonna proceed with Nathaniel Goku, who is gonna present his country, Ghana. Thank you, Victoria, once again, and thank you all attendees for staying faithful to this webinar. So yeah, go ahead, Nathaniel, if you want to share your screen.
Okay, today I'll be presenting about my country, Ghana. So first of all, I would like to say Ghana is an African country in West Africa, and Ghana is has one of the growing economies in Africa. So a little bit of the background of Ghana. Ghana was colonized by British and had its independence on March 6, 1957. The country has a size of 92,000 miles square, and the capital, Accra, it has approximately 30 million people and with 16 developmental regions. Its official language is English, but it has other recognized dialects and languages, 79 of them, and has 70 ethnic groups. So as you can see, the country is very diverse, and it has almost everything that you expect in an African country. The economy depends mostly on farming, and 60% of the Ghanaian population are farmers. And Ghana is the second largest exporter of cocoa. Cocoa is used in the making of chocolate. So if you enjoy chocolate, remember that the raw material they use, which is cocoa, is from Ghana, and sometimes from Ivory Coast also. So Ivory Coast is the first country to, not the first country to produce cocoa, but it's the highest exporter of cocoa in the world. And when it comes to minerals, we have gold, we have diamond, we have oil, and we get our electricity from the Akosombo Dam, which was built after independence. So food, for food, Ghanaians really like spicy food. So on the left, we have banku with okra stew. On the right corner, we have plantain with stew. And below, we still have banku with tilapia. And I hope if you go to Ghana, you should eat banku with tilapia. It's so delicious. And on the left over here, we have kukunte with Ghana soup. And in the middle, we have wanche with stew. Sometimes you can eat it with egg, meat or fish, anything you want. And on the right, we have jollof. I think most of you know jollof. Jollof is one of the delicacies of Ghanaian food, and I think you should taste it if you visit Ghana. And I'm just giving a glimpse of like how the country is, so it's not into details. And finally, I'm going to present on the festivals. So on the right corner, where you can see the men in the red shirt, the red clothing, that festival is called the Homoho Festival, celebrated by the Ghana Dangbes. During this festival, they spread food on the ground. Is according to history, the Ghana Dangbe suffered a big drought when they migrated into Ghana, and they had to pray to their gods. And when their gods provided them with water, it was time for them to shame hunger. So during the festival, they throw food all across the ground and just spread it in their hometown and wherever they are celebrating the festival. And on the next festival is the Ebuatri, is celebrated by the Eburi, and below is the Hogbechuchu festival. So for the Hogbechuchu festival, is celebrated by the Ewe people. The Ewe people migrated from Benin and they settled in Togo. And in Togo, they were faced with a cruel king. His name is Agokoli, and because the king was cruel to them, they decided to move from Togo to Ghana. So during the festival, they use the festival to remind themselves from escaping from the wicked king who nearly killed them. And some of the importance of celebrating these festivals, they use this moment to preserve their culture, because for most African countries, culture and tradition is very important to them, and they would like to pass it on to the next generation. And during the festival, they promote peace. During most of these festivals, states or communities that are not peace with each other come together to talk peace agreements, and during that time they use that moment to talk peace. And if there's no peace, then there's not going to be a festival. So there must be a peace so that they are going to celebrate. And they also use the festival to give thanks to God for protecting them and giving them food and happiness and children. And during the festival, they raise money for developmental projects. Like if they need to build schools, they use that money to build schools. If they have to build church, anything developmental, they use that money. Hospital, they use the money to build hospitals, even though the government also supports in many different ways. And finally, kings are very respected in the communities. So during that period, the chiefs pay homage to the kings by bringing in cows and um, um, anything that they can present, like a present to the king to pay homage for being peaceful with other communities and not um, trying to cause conflicts in any community. So during festivals, these are the things that take place, and this is where I'll end my presentation. It's just a glimpse. I'm just giving a glimpse. Maybe next time, next year, I'm going to delve into the festivals and the food more. Thank you very much, and I think this will end my presentation.
Thank you, Nathaniel, for sharing more about your country. Do we have any questions from the audience? All right, thank you, Nathaniel. We're going to proceed to Sokun. He's going to present his country, Cambodia.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm really sorry for the problem. So today I'll be like presenting about just a little bit about myself. My name is Sukun. I'm a first year student. So today I will present about Cambodia and actually change the formats a little bit. So the first thing, the full name of the country is Kingdom of Cambodia, and to the side here is the name of our country in our language. I bet probably most people wouldn't know about our language because it's only spoken by 16 million people, and then probably still less than 20 million worldwide. The English name is Cambodia, but the native name is Cambodia. And the people and the language, we call them Khmer, and the size of the country is about 181,035 kilometers square, a little less than the size of Washington State. And the main religion is Buddhist. It has about 90 to 95% of the people. And to the side here is just a little map of Cambodia, because yes, so China is up there, and then it's borders by Vietnam and Thailand. Because I used to receive some questions from people asking, is Cambodia in Africa? So just to let you know, it's in Southeast Asia. And then this is the map. So I'll start off with some major historical events. So it started in November 9th, 1953, that began independence from France after being a protectorate of France since 1863. And then the major events that you will know about Cambodia is, or maybe some people actually know, is the Khmer Rouge genocide, which often referred to as 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days. This was a communist ruling where a lot of people are forced to work for probably more than 16 hours or even more a day, and they were starved. So it resulted in at least 1.7 million people dead. And 1985 is when the prime minister when Hun Sen became the prime minister, and he's still the prime minister nowadays, and he refused to get out of power. And in October 23, 1991, there's the Paris Peace Agreement, because Cambodia has been in a war since the 1960s until 1990s. So there were 19 governments signed to end the bloodshed, and UN sent UNTAC to monitor and help promote a democratic society. In 1993, we had our first free election. Some issues in Cambodia. So some of the main issues that you will hear is corruption. Nepotism existed within the government. There's accusations of court anti-corruption units. Almost all the ministries are under the rule and direction of the prime minister. By nepotism, I mean like a lot of the members of his family are in high-ranking class. So his wife is the director of the Red Cross, and then his son is the director of the military, and one of his daughters control the entire oil company in Cambodia. Some other issues that we talk about our land confiscation and deforestation, we lost about 27% of our tree cover between 2001 and 2018, which is about 5.5 million acres. And all the TV medias are actually regulated by the government. So most of the time, the media is talking only about the good side of the government. And there have been a lot of mysterious killing, especially of activists. So these are just, I wouldn't go into details, but these are just some of the major people that have been killed. And especially the latest one is in 2016, the death of Kamlai. He's so well known for his analysis. He's just very truthful. He did an analysis after Global Witness released a report about the Prime Minister was, and 2 or 3 days after that he was shot, but they could never find the murderer. And during his funeral, there was 2 million people who attended his funeral. Education has been an issue, but I would say we have improved so much the last several years, especially since the changes in 2014. Employment is also an issue. A lot of people go to work abroad, especially Thailand, Korea, and Japan. So I'll talk a little bit about the cultures. So Apsara is the name of the dance, and the dancer which focus on the elegant moves, which I'll show some pictures after that. The dress, we wear very elegant dress, especially during weddings. Martial arts, we are known for kickboxing and Bogota. And monks are most respected individuals because I think a lot of us are Buddhists, and also even our country motto, we have nation come first, and then religion, and then king is after. And bowing is the most common way of respect and greeting. So probably I don't do that a lot here, but probably certain events you might see me bowing. That's just a way to show your respect and appreciation. So these are some pictures of the Apsara dancer. So you can see this is like the carvings on the temples and stuff like that. And then yeah, it's just beautiful ladies in the crowns and with the jewelries, and it's focused on the elegant moves of the hands and the legs. And these are just some more dresses of yeah, for weddings. Okay, now I'll discuss about the major holidays. The first and holiday that I want to talk about is my New Year. This is my favorite New Year, I guess because it was the first time that my parents allowed me independence to just go and attend these events. So there are 3 days. The first day is focused on wearing new clothes to welcome the angel, food offering to the pagodas. Then second day is day of giving food, visiting family members, and third day is cleaning. So we go to the pagoda to wash the Buddhas. Children take a shower, not shower, wash their parents or vice versa. And the focus is mostly on remote area. So a lot of people go back to visit the family members. So let me share this if I can actually share YouTube. Okay, I'll just come back to show the YouTube video later. I keep going. So these are just some more pictures of the new year. This, I guess I'm very biased here. A lot of these pictures are from my city. It's like the second biggest and most popular country city. So at night we go to this area called Pop Street. It's very, very crowded, especially during New Year. And then during the day, we go to the garden or to Angkor Wat, and you see a lot of water, and also putting powder on people's face. That's just to bring you the happiness and the happy life in the New Year. The second major holiday is Chumban. It lasted 15 days between September and October. It's when we believe the dead ancestors are active. So people go to the pagodas, like you see here, at 4 or 5 a.m. to pray, and we offer food to the dead ancestors. So we'll get sticky rice and turn them into rice ball because we believe that our dead ancestors have the mouth the size of a needle. And the last major events last major holiday is the Water Festival, which focus more, unlike the New Year, it focused more on capital city. So people go to watch the boat races. The story behind that is that the kings had races every. This is talking about like 11th or 12th century. The kings had races every year to select the best men at sailing to sail the boats for the battle. So there are three major ceremonies. First ceremony is illuminated small boats. So like it's made from banana, yeah, the banana trees, and with candles and stuff like that. And then we float them on the lakes to send away the bad vibes. And second day is saluting the moon, the rabbit on the moon, and also the third ceremony is eating the flattened rice to show the end of the harvest before the tide. And here, this is where I actually come from, and this is where people would think of if they go to visit Cambodia. It's Angkor Wat. I live about 7 or 8 miles from here. So there's the beautiful temple, and also it's one of the largest religious building in the world, and it is shown in the flag too. It was actually inspired by a king who was Hinduist, but then it was finished by the Buddhist king, so it became a Buddhist temple. It took about 30 years to finish this, and yeah, and then this is another temple called Taprom. I think it's in one of the movies called Tomb Raider. Some more pictures. And one thing I want you to note is the face, like the temples. I don't know if you can see, like here's the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. It is in all four directions to show the king. It represents the king or either the gods to overrule, because in the 11th and 12th century we were really large, and so it's controlling the empire like in all directions with compassion. And now we move to the capital city. Honestly, it has grown so much, but it's not really my favorite place. It's just very crowded. But this is where all the main economic centers are. There are banks, big hotels and investments, and the garment factories, and almost all of the universities are actually located in the capital city. Other provinces don't really have colleges, except my city. We have like 2, maybe a few more. And although there have been like many issues, our economy actually make us one of the fastest growing country. It grows at about 7% per year, but 2020 because of COVID-19, it is projected will grow at only 2.5%. And the third place I'm going to talk about is another tourist site is the major ports, access to islands and access to the sea. However, the last probably 3 or 4 years, it has been like heavily invested by Chinese, and about 90% of the hotels and casinos are actually owned by Chinese investors. So it became a hotspot to attract a lot of the Chinese, and there have been a lot of gambling and yeah, in this area. So because of the price level increase, there have been a fear of Cambodians moving out due to high price. Now we are moving to food. I guess I don't know what to describe. I guess it's just like meat and then some vegetables and stuff like that. But one thing I want to note is we have chili almost in all dish. We eat a lot of chili and very spicy chili. So chili here, almost in every single dish. And another thing I want to note is it was actually funny. I went. I used to do an exchange here, and I went to a Cambodian restaurant in Philadelphia with my advisor, and then she refused to eat the food because the food came. It was a fish with the whole head, and she said, like Americans don't eat like that. We just eat like the meat of it. But like for us, when we cook the entire thing. Like even the chickens, it come with the head and like the legs, and also the fish, it come with the head too. And yeah, and this is probably the last slide. This is just some of the dish that I actually cook by myself during the winter break. So I guess that's all, unless I'm able to show this video.
Thank you so much. I think it was honestly very interesting for everyone. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, please let us know. You can drop your questions in the Q&A and we'll definitely have a look at them. All right. Thank you, Sohan. It was a very impressive and nice presentation, even though there were some difficulties presenting, but thank you so much. Next up is actually me. So I'm going to be presenting the UAE. So I'll just start sharing my screen with you guys. All right. So yeah, I'm from the United Arab Emirates. It's in the Middle East, and yeah, let's start. So basically, the United Arab Emirates, also known as the UAE, was founded on 2nd December 1971, and it consists of 7 emirates. So as you can see on the map, it kind of looks like a horse, actually. I really like the shape of the map, but it has 7 emirates, as we call it, which are also known as cities. And I'm from Abu Dhabi, which is the capital of the country. And there's the other 6 emirates, which is Dubai. As you guys all know, Dubai, everyone knows Dubai. And there's Ajman, Sharjah, Al Quwain, Fujairah, and Ras Al Khaimah. So those are the 7 emirates. Right, so UAE is very proud of its founder, our founding father. His name is Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. And yeah, so he was the one who really got the entire United Arab Emirates into independence. And he was very well known and respected across the entire country. I think like everyone praises him, and he has been an inspiration for all of the young generation in the country. And as you can see, there are some of his quotes I put on the slide you guys can read. He was very interested in mainly the country's agriculture and growth. Obviously, UAE started basically on pearl diving. So a lot of the men used to dive for pearls, and that's where the whole economy of the country was in first. Until later, where they found oil, which boosted the country's economy and growth. So as you can see, some of the traditional dresses in the UAE are, for the men, it's called the kandura, and for the women, it's called the baya. And some of the other Arab countries in the Middle East also have similar traditional clothing, but for the UAE, as for men especially, they tend to have a white look. Their entire clothing is mostly white. And yeah, next up is food. So as you guys can see, these are some of the different kinds of food in the UAE, traditional foods. If Pangea was happening on campus, I would have loved to prepare some of these for you guys. As you guys can see on your top left, it's lukemat. It's a dough dumpling with date syrup, and it honestly tastes very great. On your top right, you can see hadith. It's like one of the best, most tasty traditional foods in the UAE, which everyone eats, especially in the month of Ramadan, which was just passed by, but unfortunately due to the pandemic, we couldn't attend. And yeah, as you can see on the bottom left, this is called mandi, and it's basically very similar to the traditional. It has resemblance to biryani, which is mostly eaten in South Asia. It's also similar to ma'luba, which is mostly eaten in the Middle East regions like Palestine, Syria, Jordan. And yeah, like these foods are amazing. If you guys ever want to try them out, just Google them up, search them up. They're really easy to make and they taste great. So yeah, this is the Yas Marina circuit, and it's one of the F1 Grand Prix circuits around the world, and it's in Abu Dhabi where I live. And every year there's the Grand Prix Formula One that happens, and this is one of the main racetracks actually. Next up is, this is called Ferrari World. It's also in Abu Dhabi. It is the only place for Abu Dhabi, Ferrari in the world where they have created such a giant structure to showcase Ferrari, its history, and other things. As if you ever get a chance to travel to the UAE, especially to Abu Dhabi, you will see this from from the plane, and it looks absolutely fascinating and beautiful. This is called the Sheikh Zayed Mosque. It is named after the founder of the country, and it's one of the largest mosques in the world. And it can consist of thousands of people at once. And it's truly a beautiful place. A lot of people go there to visit, to pray, to take a tour, because it is absolutely wonderful. And every year they're always trying to make some adjustments and improvements to the mosque, and definitely worth a visit. And obviously, as you guys can see, this is Burj Khalifa. It's in Dubai. It's the tallest skyscraper in the entire world. And you can't even miss it. If you go to Dubai, you can't even see it from outside the window of your car because it's that tall. It's almost 750 meters tall. Right, so I will show you guys a video that I have, because I don't want to take too much of your time, but this video is the national anthem. I think the national anthem is very beautiful for the UAE, and it deserves to be listened to. So hope you guys like it. That was the national anthem of the country. I hope you guys liked it. I personally love it every morning in the UAE, especially when we're in school. In the mornings, we would sing the national anthem, and that's why everyone has it memorized by heart. I think, like, if you ask anyone in the United Arab Emirates, everyone has memorized the national anthem by heart, and it's truly an amazing moment when everyone sings it together. This one is the last video. It's just to show you guys how the UAE looks like. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Yep. So that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys like watching that. It's truly a beautiful place to visit. If you guys ever get a chance, you guys should definitely go to the UAE. Yeah, there's tons of places to go to, and there's tons of places to visit, and it's a wonderful place, especially during the summertime. And the weather is amazing. They have amazing beaches, and you guys should definitely visit. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Safir, for your presentation. That was clearly a beautiful city. So I think you are the last speaker. Unfortunately, Lucy couldn't attend and present France. So we can wrap it up here. I want to thank the attendees for staying here, and I want to have a special thanks for the e-board who organized this with the help of Michelle and Mike Ulrich. I thank you all for your help, and this has been a great event. We've been recording it, and then we can send it to the Union campus to the people who could not attend the event. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you, World Around You, for organizing and putting all this together. It was an amazing event. There's my video. Okay. I want to say a special thanks, though, to you, Omar and Ren. You'll be leaving us. This is your last year. Ren is our Minerva Fellow, and she'll be going on, I believe it's to Uganda, to the Pangea Health Clinic. So we wish you all the best. And Omar, we wish you all the best as well as you await your OPT and in your job search. We also have a few in our attendees. Do we have our seniors? I see Ashvin. We want to wish him the best of everything as well. So congratulations to our international seniors and all of our seniors of 2020. And I just want to share my screen for a second. I found this old photo of you guys when you were first year students coming in when you had the dinner with the president. You can remember.
Yeah.
You can remember that.
Absolutely. Time flies.
Yeah, it's
really
small.
fast.
I don't know if you're gonna be. It does. Time does fly. I can just make out a few of you if I could increase it, but I think I see Zainab too. She's in the front.
Yep.
But anyways, congratulations to all of you. And again, all of the panelists and our incoming first year students that joined us, the India panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you, Mike, for making this happen, organizing the whole logistics of it. And thank you to the e-board members, Safir, Fatima, Ren, Hana, Nandini, and Akib. Unfortunately, Akib couldn't attend the event, but I thank you all for your commitment and dedication to this event. All right. In that case, you guys have a great day, and we will see you probably next few weeks if we have the same online classes. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Give me freedom, give me fire, give me reason, take me higher. See the champions take the field now. Unify us, make us feel proud. In the streets our heads are lifting as we lose our inhibition. Celebration, it surrounds us. Every nation, all around us. Singing forever young, singing songs underneath the sun. Let's rejoice in the beautiful game. And together at the end of the day, we all say, when I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a